Hi folks, Ryan here at Trail Now. Hey, when most people think of a rail trail, they envision a path built over the existing tracks. However, the current plan for Santa Cruz County would have the trail built next to a train. That plan went through a public process, it was reviewed by stakeholders, and right now, that's the policy. This begs the question, what's wrong with the current plan? That really is a fair question, and in this two-part series, we'll be looking at what the problem is with the current plan, and in the next video, we'll be looking at what's the solution. So the current plan is known as the Monterey Bay Sanctuary Scenic Trail Network. To get an idea of when problems started for the current master plan, you don't have to look much further than the timeline that's included at the very beginning of the document. As you can see, funding and approval from the CTC occurred in January of 2011. Again, the $11 million provided by the CTC mandated that a train had to be a part of the corridor. It was only after that money was obtained that the plan for the trail commenced. This means that the entire public process, input from the stakeholders, and approval from the local municipalities was predicated on the assumption that a train had to be included. The result is a plan that practically bends over backwards to accommodate the train, and while the plan may be well-intentioned, it's so compromised that the trail now falls miserably short of its true potential. Rather than use the existing infrastructure, we'd have to build over 20 brand new bridges. Instead of a wide trail that provides separation for cyclists and pedestrians, you have a single narrow pathway. Instead of multiple access points that would connect neighborhoods, you'd have a fence that would divide neighborhoods. Instead of a continuous path along the entirety of the corridor, you'll have surface street reroutes. Instead of a linear park with trees and vegetation next to and over the trail, they'd be clear-cut to make way for the train. Instead of simply going down the middle of the corridor, you'll need to excavate the hillside and make miles of expensive retaining wall. Instead of enjoying peace and quiet along the corridor, you get Folks, we get all this and more for $127 million. And that's just the cost of the trail. So here's the deal, people. We don't have to do this. This plan is not all bad, but it was made under false pretenses, and in its current form, it represents the proverbial $11 million tail wagging a $127 million dog. You see, the entire plan, the entire process was based on the assumption that a train had to be a part of the corridor, and we now know that's not true. Remember that timeline from the beginning of the video? Well, there's a part missing. The part that says we can give the $11 million back. If a train's not viable, we can give the $11 million back and do whatever we want with the corridor. Does Santa Cruz County really need this train? A train where the costs far exceed any benefits? We say no. The fact is, there's no consensus on a train. And if that's the case, why are we moving forward with a $127 million trail meant to accommodate one? The thing is, there is an alternative. There is a compromise, and there is a solution. All that and more coming up in part 2.